All right, so we just celebrated International Women's Day, and we are still in the middle of Women's Month, which all sounds a little bit transphobic to me, but I don't make the rules. And naturally, if you are called phobic or ist or ism or whatever, that is going to depend on your political leanings 100%. So, if you are a 10-year-old child with insane parents who are open to letting you mutilate your body to appease the Hollywood tranny demons, that's all good. But if you are a 70-year-old man with breast implants and you happen to have voted for the orange man, that's all bad. But anyways, the Human Rights Campaign has released one of the most humiliating, embarrassing, demeaning pieces of propaganda I think I've ever seen. And I don't think the poor guy himself is transgender, but he is certainly missing his manhood. And I'm not going to bash him too much because he did lose his wife, which is really sad, and that's probably part of the reason why he's dealing with this awful problem. But I will bash the guy for enabling his son's delusion and participating in this terrible dystopian gaslighting. So let's see what the Human Rights Campaign has to say about the trans children.
I'm a single widowed dad with a transgender daughter all of a sudden in Alabama, and I am just lost.
Okay, so kudos to him for telling the truth. You are absolutely lost, but I'll help you out just a little bit. You are a man, you have a son, and you need to stand up for yourself and your son and tell him how the real world actually works rather than capitulating to these weird trends that are happening in the moment.
I'm just a middle-aged white guy who loves to watch a football game with a steak and cheese sub and a beer on a Saturday afternoon.
Okay, so, dude, you gotta stand up for yourself. Well, I'm just a middle-aged white guy, and I like football. I'm just like the stereotypical white dude, man. I don't know anything about anything. Bro, get a grip. Do not let these people tell you that you are nobody because you're white. And again, this is probably another one of the reasons why your son thinks he's your daughter because you have no spine, but let's keep going.
I love my family, love my kids. We love to travel. That's probably our thing that we do the most.
Oh, well, that's super unique, right? Oh my God, you love to travel. Yeah, me too. Everybody loves to travel, right? But it's not safe right now. Is it still not safe, or can we travel now? Do we still have to get a whole bunch of medical injections to travel? I'm not quite sure how that's going because we're in World War III now, but I digress and I will move on.
He's my dad. I love him. We just enjoy each other's company. That's just how family and good relationships work.
When Jess first came out, that was something I had no idea was coming. I had no knowledge of what being transgender meant.
Well, you are probably better off because it's absolute nonsense. And again, I think it is partially your fault. Again, I don't want to blame you for losing your wife. That might have something to do with it as well. But you clearly don't even have the spine to tell your son that he is your son and not your daughter. And now you're dealing with this mess that I think is almost certainly going to backfire on you and your son.
Absolutely none. I'd been a police officer for 20-something years, been a detective for a long time. That was really helpful when this all happened because I knew how to investigate.
Well, no, you don't know how to investigate. If you did know how to investigate, you would say, this is all nonsense, and you are not a girl, you are a boy, and you would have given him a basketball or a baseball bat or a golf club or something real manly to do instead of just saying, oh, you think you're a girl? I guess so. Fine, let's do it. Snip, snip.
I started looking stuff up on the computer. I started digging up information.
No, well, you didn't. You didn't dig up enough information, bro. Like, if you... Actually, no, I take that back. You don't have to dig up any information on the computer to realize that a man, or a boy in this case, can't just magically turn into a girl. You don't need the computer to tell you that.
Yeah, one of the first things I found out was that a lot of the transgender kids, when they come out, end up self-harming themselves.
Okay, well, first of all, there is no such thing as a transgender kid. There are confused kids all over the place, but there's no such thing as transgender. It's a trend that I hope goes away in my lifetime.
Even trying to kill themselves. I felt really powerless.
Okay, so just really quickly, I'm curious to know, do you honestly think that allowing your son to live life as a girl is going to lower their chances of self-harm? Or maybe should you just tell them the truth as soon as possible and let them grow out of it, because that's probably what's going to happen. Because if you keep going along with this and then the kid turns 18, 20 years old and you let him mutilate himself with chemical castration and medical operations, that is going to be far more damaging than you just saying, no, that's not right. Ignore what the television told you, ignore what your friends at school said, and just continue to live your life as the boy that you were born.
I went through a week of just like my insides would just come apart completely, just terrified. I'd lost her mom, and I was afraid now I was going to lose her.
You mean him? You mean him because you and your wife had a child. Like, you clearly know how the world works, right? You had a family, so you're not oblivious to the fact that a man just doesn't magically become a woman, but we're all just going to keep pretending, I suppose.
My wife passed away February 25th, 2014. Kids were still in middle school at the time. I started digging deeper. The more research I did, the more I found out suicide rates for transgender kids drops dramatically if they just have the support of their families.
Well, you could say that for anything, right? Your kid doesn't have to be transgender for you to realize that they need support from their family to keep them happy and healthy. That's not rocket science.
If I was able to collect myself and go, okay, I've got a dog in this fight now. There's something I personally can do beyond saying, yeah, I love you.
Having a supportive parent means everything. They didn't always know what he was doing, and I'm sure he was freaking out more than I was most days, but just being there, being supportive, asking, okay, what's next?
I've made sure that I've been directly with her every step of the way on this. I've been physically with her, whether it's a doctor, a therapist, a Majesty Acceptance Center, a get-together, anything at all, I was with her.
This is absolutely embarrassing. This guy is just shriveling up into the fetal position basically and saying, I'm just a helpless old white guy and I don't know anything about anything. I'm just going to do research on the computer and go to all these really biased websites that are going to tell me that my son is really my daughter. I mean, do you actually believe this? He can't actually believe this. You made it through life. You're a middle-aged man. You know the truth, but you are completely ignoring it. And that is the saddest part.
So she knew she was never alone. That first year was tough, but the doctors at UAB really, really changed everything. It felt like, here's people that understand us, that have dealt with other people like us, that know how to help us, that are friendly, that are loving, that truly made us feel like they cared about us from the first day.
Okay, also, you don't have to capitulate to everybody's delusion to prove to them that you love them, right? I would, in fact, venture to say it's the exact opposite, right? You don't want to be surrounded by a bunch of yes men that are going to tell you everything you do is awesome when it's awful. You want to be around somebody who's going to tell you the truth and help you improve, but you are doing the exact opposite, and it's going to backfire big time, I can almost guarantee.
To have that help was really just what God said. Lawmakers want to criminalize the care that my daughter needs.
That is not your daughter, bro. That is your son, and this gaslighting is through the roof.
They're trying to legislate to make these people felons for treating kids like my daughter.
As they probably should. You don't just go around mutilating kids because they saw something on TV or Netflix or in the classroom and they now think that they're the opposite gender. Those people probably should be treated as criminals, but that's just me.
I would actually have to arrest the people.
And just really quickly, I'm under the impression that you can't drink booze until you're 21. You can't drive a car until you're 16. You can't get a tattoo until you're 18. But when you're a kid, you can decide that you are the opposite sex. I mean, how, Sway?
That saved my daughter's life. These bills are going to keep coming back up. It's a minority, group of people.
No, dude, I don't know who he's referring to as the minority, but it's clearly the quote transgender population that is the super minority, but they are among the loudest in the bunch, and they just won't stop harassing everybody to believe their insane delusions.
People in this state, but there are kids and we love them. That's the joke. When they file these bills, they file them under these ludicrous names like, the Protecting Our Kids Act and garbage like that.
Oh, wow. So you mean the politicians are naming the bills with euphemisms to trick people? I never heard of such a thing. This is groundbreaking stuff, bro. You've taught me something. Obviously, that's been going on for decades, and they are projecting every single shortcoming, every single fallacy, every single manipulation tactic that this weirdo cult of left-wing transgender sexual confusion Every single thing that they're doing, they are projecting onto the people that just say, hey, this doesn't really make sense. We shouldn't do it. And then they're blaming them for every single problem. It's absolutely insane, and it needs to stop.
When they don't even know the kids, they don't care about the kids.
Do you not see these people are human beings? Do you not see that I'm a human being?
Nobody is saying you're not human. We're just saying that biology exists, right? This is the party of science, right? This is the party of follow the science, read the book. But you guys conveniently throw out biology when it doesn't work in your weirdo favor.
You're just pretending like we're gonna go away just on a snap of a finger.
Talk about pretending, right? You are the one pretending. Nobody says you have to go anywhere. We're just trying to tell you the truth. You are the one pretending that you are something you are not. Just like I could wake up tomorrow and pretend that I'm Tiger Woods, but it doesn't make it true.
Law. One law can't make me go away. I'm a person.
Yeah, and one operation or one castration pill is not going to change you into a girl. What am I missing here?
The only way you can make me go away is if I die, and I think you want that. But
Let us take care of our...
See, you know, that's the thing, is they always have to jump everything. They have to jump straight to it's life and death. If you don't get the shot, it's life and death. If you don't let these people vote, it's life and death. If you don't let my son cut his junk off, it's life and death. Every single thing for them is life and death. It's an existential threat. If I don't get my way on every single weird issue, then I could die and it'll be your fault. But it's all completely false. They have created this totally fake reality that they are forcing people to live in, even though it makes absolutely no sense.
Our kids the way we know how. Yes, this is a unique situation to be in a transgender family. I know 5-6 years ago, I had no idea what that would have meant.
Exactly, because 5 or 6 years ago, I mean, this came on really quick. Now, this was happening 5 or 6 years ago, and I don't want to date myself, but like I said, when I was in college, which wasn't that long ago, in San Francisco, by the way, just so everybody knows, in San Francisco, yeah, there was drag queens and gay guys, but nobody was forcing you to believe that a man was a woman. Yeah, they might have been cross-dressers and drag queens, but they never, I was never under the impression that if I don't believe this man is a woman, then I am somehow in the wrong. Everybody knew the truth, but somewhere along the lines, we completely removed the truth, and that's also how we got to coronavirus being so quote-unquote deadly. And that's a little bit different story, maybe for a different video. But I think if we didn't completely remove truth from the world with this transgender movement, then we wouldn't have had people believing that the air outside of their front door was so deadly that they couldn't leave the house without a mask. But I'm getting off track a little bit here.
I do now, so trust me. Trust the people I put trust in my healthcare group. Trust the therapist. Trust the people that are in the middle of it. Stop trying to pass these silly bills.
Transgender youth are under attack in Alabama and all over the country. No, dude, no. You guys have been attacking us. You guys have been trying to force us to capitulate to every single little thing you do until into the point where if you just simply say, well, maybe you shouldn't be swimming with the women because you are beating them by 40 seconds or whatever it is, that becomes sort of this like hate crime, and they are constructing this totally false reality and forcing us to believe something that we all know. Everybody knows it's not true. And if they didn't know, then they wouldn't have to transition, right? You wouldn't have to say trans women are women if it were actually the case. But this has gone on far too long. It's very triggering for me, and the Human Rights Campaign is absolute garbage.